probably the first time you've seen something like this. A man running with a rickshaw across a continent. His name is Gump Suzuki. He's from Japan and described as an adventurer. He recently arrived in Cape Town, South Africa, along with a whole group of supporters, and that was the last stop on a journey that started in Kenya and took him and his rickshaw more than 3,700 miles. He's in really good shape. Suzuki's been updating his exploits on social media. At one point, he encountered a lion, which apparently didn't get too interested. His rickshaw broke when it hit a truck somewhere. In Namibia, he slept outside and had trouble getting food and water, but he said despite all that, this was a good experience for him, and that his supporters made it possible. He thanked them repeatedly for joining part of the race and following him across the finish line. Hi, I'm Azuz. This is the world from A to Z. We're so thankful to have you watching this Wednesday and hope you're doing well. Next subject. Someone appears to be cutting underwater internet cables in the Baltic Sea. Most of the world's communications, an estimated 97%, are carried through undersea cables. They're important to the global economy. They're important to global security. In the Baltic, there have been 11 incidents of damage to these cables since the fall of 2023, according to the American media organization Newsweek. This body of water is bordered by 8 European nations and Russia, and the Europeans are all members of the NATO military alliance, which is suggesting that Russia may be damaging the cables. Why might Russia do this? Much of Europe has supported Ukraine since Russia fully invaded that country in 2022. So experts say Russia may be trying to hurt Europe's communications in response. What does Russia say? That the accusations are without evidence, that Russia has never posed threats to undersea cables, and that NATO is blaming Russia as an excuse to keep its ships from carrying Russian oil exports in the Baltic.
Sunrise around 100 miles from Russia. On the near freezing Baltic Sea, tension mounts. Ultra-modern sophisticated tech is being prepped for underwater action. Specialized subsea drones designed to dive deep below the surface. NATO's mission, Baltic Sentry, is a rapid response to an escalating new threat. Multiple cables cut in recent months. And this is what the undersea internet cables look like. This size, they're tiny, they're vulnerable, they're easily cut. In these waters between Estonia and Finland and beyond, an unseen enemy is believed to have been targeting internet and power cables. The subsea drones and the battleships getting eyes on the threat.
A lot of the ships that we found are acting strangely, originate in a Russian port or are going to a Russian port.
This ship anchor suspected of being dragged on the seabed, intentionally damaging cables Christmas Day. How far have these anchors been dragged at sea?
I understand a couple of 100 miles.
Is that normal?
No.
How does that happen? Can a captain not notice?
Very good question. And my guess is no, a captain does know that, and that's probably intentional.
Repairs can be complicated, costly, and take months. Worst case, an entire nation can be cut off from the internet. Under the sea here, there are multiple cables linking Estonia with Finland. In the Baltic Sea, dozens more. The numbers keep growing across the globe. There are hundreds of cables. According to NATO, more than 800,000 miles of cable, carrying $10 trillion of international trade. Less than 2 weeks into the mission, commanders at sea increasingly confident. Who is responsible? And who is the threat here?
Russia, that's quite clear.
Russia denies any role. But by this day's end, more NATO nations committing forces to Baltic Sentry. The flotilla growing.
On this date in world history. for never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. It is believed that January 29th, 1595 is the first time an audience heard those lines. Historians think this was the date of Romeo and Juliet's first performance, though it was officially published 2 years later. January 29th, 1861 was when Kansas was admitted as a U.S. state. It was the 34th state to join the Union, though the Civil War that threatened that union was just months away. And January 29th, 1936 was a big day for some of the biggest names in baseball. Ty Cobb, Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, Babe Ruth, Honus Wagner. This was the date when they were elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, the first 5 players to receive that honor.
Win a trip for you and 10 students and go anywhere EF travels for free. This could be your year to unlock a world of growth for your students. Enter to win by February 23rd.
Word of knowledge. Mitral is a term that pertains to what part of the human body? Teeth, brain, heart, foot. Along with the tricuspid, pulmonary, and aortic valves, the mitral valve is part of the heart.
Possible weakening of the heart muscles, loss of bone density, vision problems, increased radiation exposure. All of these are known issues that can affect people who spend extended time in space. But new findings suggest that the research they're doing up there could potentially help those with heart damage on Earth. Here's a look at what's happening.
What do heart muscle cells, NASA's SpaceX Crew 8 mission, and the International Space Station have in common? They're all part of the new out-of-this-world research that launched in March. Chun-Wei Shi and her team at Emory University School of Medicine sent these heart muscle cells to space to see if microgravity would help them better survive. Right now, she says a damaged heart muscle can't regrow itself, but there's hope that transplanting new cells can one day help repair that damage. However, many new cells die after being transplanted into a patient.
So if we can find ways to improve cell survival, then those methods will be helpful for the cell transplantation applications.
After about a week in space, she got the cells back and says the ones that survived went through molecular changes which allowed them to live. She says those changes were likely due to the stress of space travel, and if that could be replicated, it could help future cells withstand heart repairs.
If we can turn up those molecules on Earth, we might be able to help the cells survive and overcome other stressful situations.
I'm Mandy Gaither.
Is it Washington or is it Virginia? Yes, it's the town of Washington, Virginia, where Miss McCabe's class is watching. Great to see y'all at Rappahannock County Middle School in the Old Dominion. Next, to the Silver State of Nevada, Miss Johnson's class. We see you at Flag View Intermediate School. The Cougars are on the prowl in Elko. And by now, y'all know how great I am at mispronouncing names. So, Mr. Poesiak, I'm sorry if I butchered that, but I'm excited to see you and the students of Metro Tech High School in Phoenix, Arizona. What day is it?
Today, January 29th, is National Corn Chip Day. Now, some of these snacks are healthier than others, and it's not known how exactly the event began, but it's all about crunching on corn chips, which originated in Mexico and became popular in America in the 1930s.
There's a type of shrew, a little mole-like animal that lives on the tallest mountain in California's Yosemite National Park. The mountain is Mount Lyell, the shrew is the Mount Lyell shrew. It looks a lot like this one, but experts believe the Mount Lyell shrew has never before been caught on camera. 3 people working for the California Academy of Sciences recently changed that by setting harmless traps, checking them round the clock, and giving the shrew its close-up. Of course, they had to be shrewd to where good hiking shrews have plenty of shrewd in water, to shrews their moment carefully as they had no time to shrews, and to prep for the publicity of the nightly shrews, because in a place like California, this could easily result in the faming of the shrew. I'm Carlos Cruz with the news on the world from A to Z. Thank you for making us part of your day. You mean the world to me.